Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, challengers, and as promised for you, we have Miss Danielle from Tummy Rescue to talk about gut reset and all things about gut health. We will talk to you and give you some opportunities to talk to the guys and introduce yourself about who you are, what you do, and also where you're located as well.
Excellent. So thanks for having me, Jo, today to have a quick chat.
Yep.
As you said, my name is Danielle Elliott. I have been in clinical practice as a naturopath for 17 or over 17 years now. And I currently practice at a clinic, SA Spine and Health, which is a chiropractic clinic in South Clinton. So I work a couple of days there. I do online consults Australia-wide. I also write technical articles for training practitioners on how to use certain products, and recently got to present for 2 weeks across Australia on my two favourite topics, which is irritable bowel syndrome and small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So all about the gut.
Mm-hmm.
But in my clinical practice, I help kids and adults who suffer from bloating, pain, gas to investigate the causes of their symptoms and then help improve the function of their gut so that they can be free of all their tummy symptoms.
Yeah. Just a quick question on that at the moment, because I don't think people realize the extent of how much damage is being done and how many people out there are suffering from things like IBS and gut issues.
Yeah, so IBS is said to affect, 30% of the population chronically in Australia,
Wow.
but 50% of the population for, a certain amount of time. So 50% of Australians will experience bloating, pain, gas, and alteration in their bowel form and habits.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. And from your experience, what are the major causes of these things? What are people doing that's not helping them in this situation?
Yeah, so we are eating foods that are not true foods, not real foods, lots of packaged things that have chemicals like fillers, binders, colors, and some of these things like emulsifiers. Yes, they may not be harmful, they're not going to kill us, but over time, that amount, what they do, so an emulsifier, for example, it's, trying to bring water and fat. It breaks down fat. It brings them together so that your yogurt doesn't have this much liquid sitting on top and all the fat at the bottom, because we don't like that. We like that perfect smooth texture. But what emulsifiers do, when your gut lining and every cell in your body is lined by 2 layers of fat, which actually protects the cell and helps it work, you can start thinking about how some of these chemicals, if they're breaking down fat, they could be breaking down the gut lining, they can be breaking down the cell, so these things really affect us, even though we may not always understand how.
And I think with this 20-week challenge, I'm introducing some more education more than anything. I don't want to restrict people, but I want people to be aware of what they're putting in their bodies and the effects that it has on the bodies. And if you're talking emulsifiers in yogurt and people don't like the separation of liquid and yogurt, I always know that that's a proper yogurt. Like if there's a separation, no, it doesn't look great, but you mix it up.
Exactly.
And it's fine. But
same for me.
As you say, people have a psychology
already
ingrained in them, so they're not going to try something, or they're not going to literally, or they're going to eat something they know nothing about.
Yeah, exactly. So I really think whole foods, what you like, what our grandparents ate. If it looks like that and what they ate, then it's good. If it's something that they wouldn't recognize or it looks different, then maybe we should be second guessing and thinking about, what is going in here, because it has an effect on everything inside the gut and then inside the body.
So let's talk about, we know that about food now. Let's talk about in the module that I've just completed, which is also in all fitness at the moment, and I've noticed it's changed a lot, is cortisol levels and stress and the effects that it has on the gut. Now, most of us are stressed. We're running from the tigers and the lions all the time. And on that way, we're grabbing the bad foods. So that's a pretty lethal combination, is it not?
Yeah, exactly. So when I was lecturing a few weeks ago, I was sharing with practitioners just how bad you know, this gut-brain interaction is, especially for like IBS patients, but really any of us, we are all trying to break down food at some point every day, like 3 to 5 times a day. And if we're, like you said, in that fight or flight response, and any normal kind of stressful situation can put us in that fight or flight, our body thinks that we're fighting tigers and lions and, you know, maybe about to have a battle with another person. So it goes into that stress response, which means you are not getting blood flow to the gut, which decreases your enzyme production. It changes every message pretty much and heightens the messages in the wrong direction. So just say your gut is meant to accommodate for food. If it's meant to send a message of that, it's actually not accommodating for food. If it's meant to bring blood to the gut so you can digest better, it's not doing that. If it's meant to, you know, when we're eating, our gut is meant to send, the brain is meant to tell the gut, okay, don't let the person feel that or experience it as pain. But when we're in that fight or flight, the opposite happens. So we experience it as pain. And so when people are eating, they're getting a lot of gas build up, the food's not breaking down, then they're feeling everything. Everything is happening the opposite of what it should when we're chronically stressed. You need to get into rest and digest to eat your food.
That's a good point, because they also brought up the fact is you should either be laughing or calm when you're eating.
Yeah.
And you should eat slow. And if you cannot eat a meal without being stressed, it's probably not worth eating. It's probably worth drinking a couple of glasses of water and giving yourself some time to find time to sit down and eat.
Like have a herbal tea.
Yeah.
You know, don't
sit down with the family. Yeah. Sit down with the family, like good people.
Have a chat.
Try and have a chat.
Exactly. We need that time. You know, traditionally prayer would have been that time for a lot of people where you just, you know, you're grateful for the meal in front of you. You have people, but we're not eating with family as often. You know, another bad thing I see people do all the time, I always ask them, are you eating at a table?
Yes.
You know, or are you eating on the couch? Eating on the couch is terrible for your posture and your gut and your organs. Just that can give you reflux.
Yeah. And this is one of the things where I'm driving home with the challenges. They think, oh, I've dug myself deep here. I'm going to be they're going to restrict my diet and they're going to do everything. But I think education is the most important thing at the moment for people to learn what you're doing to your body and how it's responding. And it makes them second guess that decision. So
exactly.
Today is a very interesting thing about that. I also want to talk about, obviously, good sleep is also important because we're learning that as well. But what about stimulants? Like a lot of people are reaching for coffee, and a lot of people these days are doing crazy fad diets. When I say crazy, not all of them are crazy, but a lot of them aren't good for you. Now, a lot of people are on this fast kick, and I believe a lot of people fast too often.
Yeah.
And in order to stay awake, they're allowed to have as many coffees as they want. What's the effects of things like caffeine on an empty stomach for a start? And does that stress you out? And the gut, how does it affect the gut?
Yeah. So I definitely let people have coffee, even when I'm doing my gut reboot or, you know, detox, for want of a better word. You know, I do let people have coffee, but as you just said, I do not let them have it on an empty stomach. The first thing in the morning, if coffee, it is really acidic, you know, if that's hitting your gut with no food in there, it's really irritating. And we know that coffee can sometimes, for some people, give them diarrhea. So that can get us thinking about how irritating is it to the gut and what is it doing. So yes, a coffee is fine. 5 or 6 coffees, no way. It is too acidic. It can break down your gut. It is a gut irritant. It's a known gut irritant.
Yeah. And all it does is it decreases your stress.
Exactly.
It increases your adrenal fatigue, and it pushes you so that you need more. And that's why people get addicted to it, because they haven't had a good night's sleep and they haven't put food in their belly.
Yeah.
There was an old adage, and I used to use this. I never was a breakfast eater. And I have a lot of clients that always say, oh, I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat breakfast. I'll just have a coffee and run out the door. I mean, I'm talking 90 to 99% of people. So I remember when I went to a naturopath many years ago and she said, have an apple. I went, yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. I tried it. And let me tell you, first thing in the morning, an apple, not only did it wake me up, I could take it, I eat the apple, get ready, go out on the street and go for a walk. Gave me a bit of a glycogen spike. It also set my stomach up for the onslaught of the day. Is that true? Because apples are really good for you.
Yeah. So in my patients, like with the IBS and in gut infections, sometimes apple might not be, but I don't mind stewed apples for them because they can tolerate that usually better. I do think a piece of fruit, if you're not a breakfast eater, to get you into that mode. I see people fasting all the time and thinking that because when they eat it hurts, so they just choose to eat less and less. And actually that's going to lead to more issues with diarrhea or constipation. And that first meal, actually in the morning, if we can eat a good meal, and we might need to, like you said, start really slow with just an apple to start with. There is these messages and receptors that get activated with your breakfast that will help your bowels work better through the whole day. So if you're fasting, it's really interesting. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but it just is amazing to learn that, you know, if you don't eat breakfast, you're probably not stimulating those receptors at all, because breakfast is the meal that stimulates them the most. So then you're probably going to have subpar bowel function for the rest of the day.
That's correct. And I don't think people realize that. You know, Instagram and Facebook and things like that have a lot to answer for, because people out there, they're not qualified. Some of them have tried these things, but, you know, when they're going into the science behind it, it's all ignored. And I'm from doing this course again and refreshing. We're talking basic nutrition, and I'll be teaching my clients turning their triangle upside down, stop eating so much at night and eat less at night, and eat your biggest meal in the morning, and try and turn everything around and change a few habits that you're going to allow your stomach to do what it's meant to do at the right times of the day.
Exactly.
And as you said, kickstart. It's like I always said, your food in the morning is the keys to the car. You can't start the car without the keys. And then you can't run the car without petrol or oil. And that's a really good analogy, because people are trying to find their keys. They finally find the keys. They're trying to run a car without oil or fuel, and they wonder why they're not getting through the day.
And they reach for coffee, or even worse, those you know, energy drinks as well, which I don't even I forget that they exist, because they're just not on my, you know, but I just couldn't even put my mouth near them.
Let's talk about pre-workouts. Let's talk about pre-workouts. Pre-workouts sometimes come in a can, which is the strength of 3 to 4 coffees in one can. And then they're going off there, they're going to the gym thinking, oh, I'm fasting, this is great. They'll whack down one of those cans, and then they'll try and train really, really heavy. Risk of injury, risk of collapsing, risk of heart attack, risk of all of these things, because you're getting a negative way of stimulating your body, and then it's just ruining your gut health, and you're not eating a decent meal to fuel that workout or even get those receptors going in the daytime.
Yeah, it definitely ruins gut health. I see a lot of people who work out in that way who then are wondering why their gut is in such poor state and they're getting so many gut symptoms. But to me, it's clear why. And that needs to be changed.
Let's talk about biomechanics. We were talking in the module about, you know, listening to your body. I guess a naturopath's job and a dietitian's job is also to find out what works and what doesn't. Most people don't realize the talent they have. If you eat something, what is happening 15 to 20 minutes later that's causing their grief. So for me, I know I'm completely dairy intolerant. No one can tell me otherwise. As soon as I have milk or milk product, there's a phlegm reaction immediately up the back of my throat, and I can't swallow, and it's just disgusting. Gluten is the same. I can have gluten, but if I push it too much, I will get a gluten intolerance. So I'm very sparing about the amount of gluten that I have. So is that true? Like people's biomechanics usually give you an indication there's something not quite right in your body.
Yeah. And you know, that's one thing that when I have a consult with a patient, I'm always going through all these funny, random messages or symptoms that people just kind of, well, they ignore it because they get told by other, you know, professionals that it doesn't mean anything. But I love those weird and odd symptoms, you know, like you said, if someone tells me that they wake up and they're very congested, or they have postnasal drip, I'm straight away thinking dairy, and they've probably got some reflux issues. But I love those little signs and symptoms and reading the body, because your body is always, a symptom is your body's way of telling you something. And you can ignore it, and then it will just make things worse, and you'll get another symptom. But when people go to a medical professional and they get told, oh, doesn't matter, it doesn't mean anything, then they get taught to ignore these little signs. But those little signs, you know, and then it gets so muddied and so dirty that's what I'm trying to help patients discover, is that I clear those muddy waters, decrease some of the symptoms we can by supporting gut function and supporting the body. And then my patients learn to read their body, listen to their body, and they go, oh my God, as soon as I eat this, this is what happens.
Yeah.
I know this is the food for me that is not great.
Yeah.
But people can relearn those skills when, you know, they're feeling better. And I think, you know, resetting, putting in some new habits can make you more aware and listen to your body again. And that's what I think you'll be teaching people, and they'll come to realize in those 20 weeks is like, oh my God, my body was trying to tell me this.
Yeah. And they'll be able to recognize it in family and friends and children and pass down that knowledge, you know. So just a little backstory about my naturopathic introductions, why I believe in naturopaths. I remember when I was going through perimenopause, and I was 45 at the time. I just completed my second bodybuilding comp. And I went down like a bucket of shit because obviously I was overtraining, under eating for my body type. I should have been eating more carbs. I was carb depleted. I did, you know, 5 days a week training. I was walking every day. I was pushing myself in a 40-hour a week job as a PT. I was DJing on the weekends. All of a sudden, I was actually studying body type diets, blood type diets, and all those sort of things. And I went down like a bucket of shit. So I went to my GP. They did a blood test for me because I wanted my hormones checked. And they said they were normal for my range, and your symptoms are perimenopause. Go home, take some Panadol. There's not much we can do for you. I was devastated because I was not only battling with depression, I was battling with my mental health. I had the night sweats so often that I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks, and I was desperate. And because I'd been looking into blood typing diets and things like that, and I knew I had allergies and allergens to food, so I went and saw a naturopath who did a little bit of blood work. So she tested my blood. She said, you're A type. She put my bloods on under a telescope while I was sitting there at the time. And it was only that week that I had discovered a massive lump on my breast that literally came up overnight, the size of a golf ball, right on the front lobe of the breast. So that was close enough to cancer that I've ever come. So when she tested my blood, she said, I gave her the blood test that said doctor, and she said, did your doctor tell you you are severely vitamin D deficient? I said, no. She said, did the doctor tell you this? I said, no. Did your doctor tell you this? I said, no. I said, okay. So she goes, I can help you. So when we looked at my blood, my red blood cells were severely mutated and were very sluggish. And she said, you are dangerously low in your white blood cell count. Did your doctor tell you this? I said, no. So white blood cell count, minimal blood cell count means you're heading towards cancer, right? Your body's not in good shape. So she had sent off my foods to be tested as well. So 90 foods came back. I already knew about dairy. Dairy was 100% not good for me. I'd been having protein shakes and you name it, casein protein, whey protein, She also said, rice. You're 30% intolerant to rice, a glutinous product. I've been eating rice 3 serves a day on top of all the work that I was doing. Then she said, and egg white. You're intolerant to egg white. I was eating up to 48 eggs a week.
Protein.
On top of that, I was stressing my body out. Plus, I was going into perimenopause. So naturally, cortisol, high cortisol, wrong foods for my body, stressing my body out every single day, getting up on competition. You know, that was a perfect example of what a normal person, take out the bodybuilding side, is doing to their bodies every day. They're eating the wrong food. They're stressed 24/7. They're overtraining because they think they need to train to get skinny. And all these things lead to cancer, right? And that's a typical example of what happened to me. And I to this day, she said to me, all the foods you're intolerant to, 100% go away for a year.
Remove.
60% take them off for 6 months. 30% take them off for 3 months. I said, all right, I'm going to give them all up for 3 months. I'll come and see you in 3 months. Stopped bleaching my hair because of all the chemicals. Stopped tanning fluids. Stopped every chemical that was known to man. I stopped wearing deodorant, everything. I was like, I don't want breast cancer. I went back 3 months later. And I went back 3 months later. She pricked my finger, put it under the microscope, and there, lo and behold, she goes, I don't know what you're doing. Keep doing that. Right? And all I did was get rid of the bad foods that were bad for me. I ate clean. I only ate anything that growed and lived. with eyes and leaves,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
I took a lot of the grains out, and that's not for everybody. I'm saying this is just for my particular type.
Yeah.
What's your spin on that? Because I know for a fact that that's what happened to me, and that was definitely not a placebo.
Yeah. So I once, when I was in year 10, because I do live blood, and the reason I do live blood analysis in my clinic as well is when I was in, I think, year 10 or year 11, I joined, like, I decided with my sister we're going to do an experiment for the Oliphant Science Awards. And we wanted to test how diet affects your blood, because I'd seen a naturopath once before, because I had to come off a medication when I was young. And luckily my mum took me there. So yeah, we did different diets for a month at a time. We both did the same diet, and we pretty much went from, you know, the original blood test, then we did just water for a month. That made a dramatic difference on the way that our blood looked. And this was only 4 weeks.
Absolutely.
And then we did a vegetarian diet, and that was amazing for the blood as well, but not, I need to eat meat for me anyway. It's a personal thing. Everyone can choose what they do. And then we did, oh my God, the keto, what was that keto diet that was around like 20 years ago? Oh my God. The Atkins diet.
Potatoes and meat.
Potato, meat, bacon, eggs. And that was just, I felt disgusting. And looking at our blood, there was a buildup of toxins and acids and crystals in the blood. So that just, you know, even before I studied being a naturopath, because I went into science first, as soon as I did naturopathy, I was like, I have to do live blood, because it's amazing the difference it can make to the quality of your red blood cells, you know, how much iron they have, the inflammation levels you can see, the health of the white blood cells, you know, and everyone's different, but you need to remove the things that are irritating you. And now I'll just say, you know, when you eat a bit of gluten, your body can tolerate it because your gut is healed. You don't have that high cortisol. It's not necessarily that all these foods are enemies, like real food, but that when we're doing all the wrong things, then putting some of these inflammatory foods in, like you said, it's the perfect storm to create inflammation and disease.
Yes, I was very unwell. I had IBS at the time.
Yeah.
So you can imagine IBS, menopause, you know, adrenal
high
fatigue,
stress,
high stress, right?
Yeah.
I was an absolute mess. And at the time, at 47, I was headed down like a really bad path.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say at 57, haven't given everything up. I still don't drink alcohol. But what I've learned is less is more when it comes to exercise, getting proper sleep, if you can, finding help with your hormone levels so that you can ease off those things, because in the end, I ended up with a heart condition. I had AF, and it was completely electrical. Okay. When I went into hospital at 57, 10 years later, they had said to me, you are the fittest, most healthiest 53-year-old we have ever had in the heart ward. He said, amazing. Nothing wrong with your blood. There's nothing wrong with your system. Normally we have to tackle diabetes, overweight, and that is what's causing the heart to go funny. He said, but yours is completely electrical. You've maybe got a tiny microscopic valve that's not working properly. He said, we can give you medication, you can go home.
Yeah.
Now, if I was going down that same route I was before, I would have been overweight, breast cancer, maybe having a breast removed. Who knows? You know?
Oh, who knows? Yeah.
You know, because that's what's triggering your body to get disease of all forms, of all different forms.
Yeah. So I was sick when I was 20, and I just think now, if I didn't find naturopathy, where would I be now? I was on 3 medications at the time. I don't take anything now. And I'm just like, I just would have got worse and worse and worse. And I might be on like 5 medications or 6. Like, of course, I'll never know, but I would be sick all the time because that's the way that I was heading.
Yeah. So my motto is prevention is better than cure. Yeah.
Oh, and so much easier.
And I think that what you do is amazing. And I think sometimes, like Kylie and yourself, you have to go through an injury in order to understand what goes on in your body and then teach other people. So
definitely.
For those of you who are out there, my major goal for this challenge is not to restrict food and not to make you do a ridiculous food camp. It is education, like Danielle and all the other people I'm interviewing, to let you know that there is help, that you can go see Danielle. She can help you with all of the things that you are concerned about with your health. And my role is to make sure that you're just clean eating, getting some sunshine, getting some water, getting some sleep. And if you need supplements, Danielle can help you out that where you are lacking. I can honestly get you in 20 weeks time. If you go back to see Danielle, and she hopefully will be telling you, whatever you're doing,
keep doing
it. Yeah. So let's talk about the offers. I'm going to do a quick share screen. I hope this works for you. And I'm just going to go to my desktop here.
Always fun technology. It's just
I know, isn't it?
I cross my fingers.
So let's see if we can open up one of these for you. There you go. Let's talk about the packages. Okay, so we'll start off with that nice thing. You're great at your artwork. Thank you so much for that.
I love doing it. I love being creative.
Talk about these little lists here. So your nutrient assessment you've got, and you've also got a 4-week gut reboot.
Yeah, so the nutrient assessment, that includes a consult, which includes the live blood testing, zinc and pH testing of urine, just to make sure, check what's going on, because this will really give us indicators on what nutrients someone needs. You get the same thing in the gut reboot. And then after the nutrient assessment, I'll obviously give you a printout of the test results, what it means for you, a recommended prescription based on your unique test results, and also some resources to go with it. So you get a little gut booklet and you get a nutrient list, like foods and nutrients. So if I tell you that maybe your iron or B12 is looking a bit low, yes, you can take a supplement, but then I might say, look, you need to take these iron foods, and you need to take, have more of the vitamin C rich foods in combination to increase your absorption. Beautiful. In the gut reboot though, that is the same testing. You get a report, you get a gut health booklet. You also get my gut reboot resource booklet and recipes, and you get a supplement package as well. So that's more that you want to take some supplements, you want to really reset the whole, heal your gut lining, support your kidney function, your gut function, all the detox pathways to help you get rid of toxins in the body. So that one's a bit more comprehensive and involved. But, I definitely have so many resources when I do a gut reboot that usually at the end of the 4 weeks, people are feeling completely different. Yeah.
So let's talk about the 4-week gut reboot package. This one is for $410. You're going to save $80. So
exactly.
This is the one that you want to really look at if you can afford it. Great package, and that's the one we're talking about. And you get an ebook there. You got some recipes, because some people are good cooks, some people are not. But and
the recipes are simple. I hate complicated food. Like before kids, I might have been more of a master chef. But now my recipes are just simple and easy, just things that you can either mix together and bake, or so you'll get a recipe book, as I said, you get a guidebook for gut reboot, and you get the supplement pack as well. So there's a huge discount on that.
Absolutely. And then for the gut reboot package, this one here is for $160. You save $30. We did have a client that you did answer, so just rehash on claiming things on private health. I believe that's non-existent anymore for naturopath.
As of pretty much since COVID, so 2019, the government took away naturopaths off private health, as well as 20 other practitioners. Since then, pretty much, we can't claim. No. We tried to lobby, and we're lobbying again, but who knows what will happen.
All right, well, thank you so much for talking to me today. I really appreciate it. And like most people, it's really good just to share this with the people, and they can make their mind up and ask questions. Once we post this up on the page, if you could just keep an eye on the comments.
Of course.
Now, how do people book in to see you? If we leave the details on the when we put it up on the post, do they just call your reception there on that number?
Yes. So SA's Fine and Health. And the girls will know about the 2 offers that are available, and they'll book people in either for an hour, that's what we need for the gut reboot, or 45 minutes for the nutrient assessment appointment. And then once they book in, they'll receive an email from me with just one little form to fill in before they come, so I can just check medication interactions, health conditions, so that we can make the most of the appointment time and really get onto the things that need to be checked.
Yeah. So you hear that, guys? When they send you an email and ask you to fill out a questionnaire, you have to fill it out. Thank you so much for your time, Danielle. I know you haven't been well and the kids haven't been well, so I hope you all get better in the household soon. And I'm really, really thankful that you have joined our group and our team to be a part of this. And I really hope that we can repeat this every year and make changes to people and to the population and educate them a whole lot more.
Yeah, thank you, Jo, for having me. I think it's an amazing initiative that you're doing. You know, I just think I truly, as well, if people read my website, I do believe that education is huge. And once you know this information, you can take it and use it. And, you know, you don't know what you don't know. But now if Jo's going to be telling you and you're going to be learning about it, you can actually start instigating it and just be, you know, a happier, healthier person. So this is the way to live your best life.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Danielle. And I will speak to you in a second.
Excellent. See you.